Because listen, I love my peace. I love my space. I love good talks. I love good music. I like good vibes. If you like what you hear, I want you to subscribe to the channel. I ain't gonna say it no more now. This is the space for you to thrive. We gonna do this. Let's go. Okay. Hey. Welcome to my channel. This is the first episode of Season Dialogue with Lisa Marie. I also have a podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and iHeartRadio. If you are one who just likes to listen to the audibles, then I invite you to go there and take a listen. And if you are one who likes to mix the audio with the visual, welcome. This is a place of peace. We are talking about everything under the sun. I am a woman, so I know that I will gauge more women than I will men, but we gonna be talking about a whole bunch of subjects. And also, I'm a person of peace. Now, I would love to get some constructive criticism or commentary below. So after you listen to the message of each video, decide then if you want to, like, subscribe, follow, and leave me some commentary. But one thing I don't do is I don't do mess. I ain't one of them. So we going to keep it peaceful. We going to keep it 100 and we going to have nothing but love. All right. Okay. So this is, again, the first episode, and I want to talk about personal peace and how we get there. Personal peace for a lot of people comes in different stages. It may happen because of circumstance. It may happen because there is a bridge in age and maturity. It may happen because we just get tired of living the mundane life that could be, composed of just being around people who are messy, realizing that we are the mess, or just knowing and understanding that it is time for us to grow beyond the space in which we have been accompanying for so long. Personal peace is, it's not a linear road. It has its turns and it has its ups and downs. But when you get to a place of peace, it feels like the best cake that you have ever tasted. It's so good. And you want to stay on that recipe and that good old cake for a long time. Personal peace also feels like knowing that what you have grabbed onto and what is, sinking right there in your heart is where you've always wanted to be. There were so many times in my personal life where I was just really existing, not living, but existing. And I know that many people can attest to that. You know that you are here, but by the value in which you are giving yourself and to others, it just almost feels like you're just living and not having anything purposeful. I remember the moment in which I had a personal breakdown. I was away from family and friends, and I had that moment to myself. I felt like everything in my life had been culminating to a disastrous event. It was moments of trying to figure out what it was that I needed to do personally for myself. And then there was like tragic events that were happening just abruptly. I couldn't stop it. I couldn't take charge of it. I wasn't able to heal in those moments. But as an adult and also as a parent, like, I had to move forward. And that event that came with the moment of just letting go, crying, sitting with myself. And let me tell you something. In moments when you let go and you begin to cry, get it all out, there is a moment when you feel sorry for yourself. And listen, that's an understandable, position to be in. But one thing about it is we have to rise up out of it. It doesn't mean that it has to be a timeline, but see, we ain't gonna sit there forever. I needed that moment to cry. I needed that moment to just let go. And I needed that moment to sit with myself, because many times I was always the bridge between other people. I was always the listening ear to the issues in which other people had, and I never had the space in which I could just sit with myself and allow all of the things that I was dealing with to just manifest and be on its own. I think for a part of the reason I was afraid to stare all of those things in face to face, looking at them. But that was a moment where I personally broke. So I decided to take some time for me. I needed to sort out and get some things, together. I needed to figure out why. And then I needed to have a goal in mind. How am I going to move in a way in which it is conducive to my healing and bringing me into a part of myself that I could just look at it and be like, I'm good. I wanted to get to a point where I was good. The steps that I took was, number one, I began to realize that a lot of the things that I was personally going through, I packed them up inside. And sometimes we do that in a way to just deal, especially when we are adults. We have various things that we are going through, various things that we have to take on. And we seem to think that we don't have time to sit in our mess and deal with it. So we pack it on top of each other. And after a while, it becomes so high that now we can't even look past it. It's in our way. We've been trying to move it, but after a while, it just becomes like a hoarder's house full of junk. And it's just time for me at that moment to I don't want this baggage anymore. So I decided to sit with it and go through, the bags of my mess to deplete everything that didn't serve me and walk into the space of knowing that one of the functional things that I was doing was allowing myself to not sit in it. Number one, lesson learned. After you walk into a space and realizing that these are the things, your coping skills that you have been accustomed to, you want to do things differently because, again, on the outside, you want to see yourself in a different light. So I sat with my stuff. I unpacked all of the baggage. I threw away what needed to be thrown away. And then I began the process of healing. Number two, I held on to a lot of disappointments that had happened in my life. And I decided that, I no longer can let those disappointments take over the type of person that I know that I am. Disappointments came in congruence with sadness, and it also led me to depression. It was trying to figure out why it was that people did not think the way I did, or not even consider my feelings in certain situations, that I wasn't able to see their perspective and understand why it was that a lot of emotions and a lot of events and a lot of circumstances were directed to me in a negative way. Once I, took it into myself and realized I can't put my hand on, nor can I pull away. I can't change. I can't do anything with what happened in the past but to let go, because the disappointment set with itself for me, hoping that I could somehow change it. So I started the process of forgiving. Number one, forgiving myself for isolating and being in this point of my life where I felt like people owed me something. And then second, I forgave them. The moment that I forgave people in my life, past, present, I realized that it took so much weight off of me. And then I also had to give myself space, that I operated in certain ways with other people and they gave me space as well. So I had to understand, just like God, we act in ways and it's so reflective of the love that God has for us. Why couldn't I have it? So I decided to let that go, which gave me that inner peace that I needed. Once I began the transition, then I saw that my mind was different. The way in which I thought my connections with people were different. It's almost like I graduated to this point of maturity where I realized that I no longer reside in this space, in this place, and also in this position of being the person that I was years ago. But the person that I am now and the places that I am going affords me the opportunity to know what peace feels like, looks like, and smells like. Yeah. Peace feels like the things that used to bother you doesn't take up space in your life anymore. It's almost like when you learn the lesson, you don't go back to it. The things that used to stress me out, it no longer stresses me out. It's not me being ignorant of the fact or ignoring anything. It's just I realize I've been here before. The things that people may have said to tick me off, it no longer holds residency in my mind and my heart. I'm good with that. If you feel a certain type of way, baby, I'm good, because I'm going to walk in and I'm going to be myself. The things that I felt I couldn't forgive, I forgave, because I realized that they were going on with their lives. And I was sitting in despair and hurt, and I didn't want to feel that anymore. Giving that act of forgiveness, whether it was said to that person face to face or I just released it into the air, it was the knowing that now I am no longer chained and shackled, and I can just walk freely because I hold nothing in the reserves of my heart and also in my mind. Additionally, peace feels like I can sit with myself now. I can sit with myself and know that not every situation is worked out into completion, but I have the tools now to work through what it is that may come my way. The thing about strength is it takes time. You must endure a little bit of some things in order to find your strength. It's the same way with working towards running a marathon. You can't go out and run a marathon in record timing. You have to work up to the speed, the endurance. The body has to get accustomed to running, far lengths, getting the time. It's the same thing with finding the peace and healing. It is a process in which it builds up the endurance to get there. And so now that peace is where it's at, baby, I'm good. Now, I'm not going to say that certain things don't tick me off, because it's a trigger and we all have triggers, but it's not where it used to be. And that maturity and that wisdom that sits there is the knowing that now that I am at, let's say, step 5, I used to be at step 1. Now that I am at step 5, I look forward to step 6 and step 7 and step 8, elevating and knowing and acknowledging and sitting in that place in which it feeds me and makes me so much of a whole person. I want you to find your personal peace. I want you to forgive. I want you to unpack all of the things that has really been piling high all around you. It has shown up as a hoarder's den, not allowing you to move, grow, expand, not allowing you to let new things in. Because if we think about it for a minute, we've all watched the hoarder shows, or we know people who are hoarders. The new, gets tied into the old. And sometimes based on the packaging, we don't know what's new and what's old. Give yourself space and opportunity to bring in new things that are better for your life and that will give you so much peace and happiness in this new way, this new form, this new place of where you want to reside. Also with peace, I've learned that my peace is accompanied by a newfound happiness that no one could give to me. No amount of money, no amount of material things, nothing in the world that someone could give to me would be a form of peace. It is what I'm constantly giving to myself, and ways in which I'm residing in this newfound me. I want you to learn how to let things go, not letting them settle, not allowing them to fester, and not allowing them to get you off of who you are. You cannot see your greatest, biggest, most beautiful self if you continue to waddle in the disastrous part of you. I hope, for the first episode, you enjoyed this. We're going to have talks like this, going back and forth. I wanted to get that out because this sets the precedence of what I want all of us to do in this lifetime is get to a point of peace. Whatever that point of peace looks like for you, get to it, write it down, throw old things out, forgive those who need to be forgiven, forgive yourself. Face your fears and all of your issues head on. Recognize who you are. Recognize who you are or going to be after you let those things go. All right, I ain't gonna talk no more. I hope you got it. If you like it, if you like what you heard, like, subscribe, follow me, and also listen to the podcast if you are one to listen to Audible sounds. All right? Okay. Talk to you later.